Okay, let me try to finish this up. So here's where we are. I marked it, and where it was marking on here led me to bring the tip. Here's where the center line is. Led me to bring the tip further back. I repainted, reapplied the marker, scrubbed some more. Reapplied the marker, scrubbed some more, and I changed the direction, and I went up and down and back and forth, and I found that still parallel was best, but to move the curve closer to the center line of the knife, keeping with the conversation earlier about the effectiveness of where the stone can touch the edge. So I'm still clamping, thinking about clamping, thinking about working the whole knife, thinking about stropping the knife. When I clamp it, I think about the angle. Am I going to be able, with that clamping position, to set my angle more acutely at the end of my sharpening so I can strop? These are all clamping considerations from the start. We don't just want to find the best clamping position, the sweet spot clamping position, if we can't use it. So that's another consideration. So I moved the tip back. I kept reapplying and obliterating, and I can see now that all the way to the very tip that marker is obliterated. There's that, you can see that shiny band all the way across with the blue line below it. So what I have found, that this clamping position for this knife, oriented like this, forward and backwards, that my stones are making contact all the way across the knife edge. So that is a good, effective position to start to work on this knife. And then, once I find that effective clamping position, that sweet spot clamping position, then I can start playing by moving the angle in and out. We started with 20 degrees just to obliterate the marker, just as a starting point. Now that height of that obliterated marker line across this knife edge, we can make that go up and down on the bevel, or actually get wider and narrower on the bevel as we improve that contact patch, getting that knife closer to that bevel angle as we look to match it. So when we match it, we're making as best contact with it as we can. And then our scrubbing, our stonework across that will be as tall a bevel patch as you can. And that's what we're looking for to start with, to match that angle and to find that position. We found the position, and now we're ready to start matching the angle. Now you may find that you need to adjust this a little bit as you're working. Maybe the height over here is different than the height over there, and you have a little bit of room to tweak it. That's expert level stuff if you want to do that. And then you clamp it. And then at that point, when you feel that's your clamping position, that you can get the full purchase on that knife, then the knife is profiled to the Wicked Edge clamping system. At that point, you can dial in the angle and then go to town, start working on it. After you dial it in and you start working on it, that's when we are physically profiling the knife edge at that set angle. All that other stuff that I call in the catalog of profiling, all those other steps up to then are leading to that point where you found the sweet spot, where you matched it and you did all that, matched the angle so that you could get that knife profiled to the sharpening, guided sharpening system, that fixed position. You found that fixed position you can work with. That's the profiling to the sharpener. And the stones, we did that. Now, even still, that knife originally was sharpened by a method. Maybe the guy had a little twist to it coming off of the Tormek wheel or whatever, the water wheel. So that is influenced in the sharpening job. Now we're going to influence it with the new sharpening method. That's the profiling of the physical edge to the sharpening system. That's the first step. That profiling at that angle, now you're sharpening it. If you're not matching the angle, you're changing the angle. That's called reprofiling. If we're matching the angle and sharpening at that angle, we're sharpening it. But that first sharpening job is sharpening and profiling that knife to the physical characteristics of the Wicked Edge fixed position, clamped fixed position, guided sharpening system. It's all to that first time. After that first time, when you clamp, I'm going to cut myself. After that first time, when you clamp it up and you match that angle, find the sweet spot first, match the angle, go to work, and so your stones are working the whole bevel, and now you're doing something. That's where the sharpening starts. All that other stuff, that's a matching process. That's where the sharpening starts. Thanks.